Thank you very much. President of the Institute of Strategic Thinking, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to be here this evening, to discuss post-pandemic international system. I sincerely extend my gratitude to the Institute of Strategic Thinking for inviting me this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are all living in challenging times, and the world as we know it. From now on, it will be discussed or determined on the basis of pre-pandemic and post-pandemic world. I've been listening to my colleagues, and there is general consensus that COVID-19 pandemic has brought forth enormous human, social, and economic disruptions which have been unprecedented in the modern times. Since being declared a pandemic in late January 2020, the countries have taken precautionary and strategic measures deemed appropriate to effectively address the threats posed to humanity. These measures were meant to prevent further infections and also to cushion the socio-economic impacts that were expected. There are limited success in the war against the invisible enemy, Success or failure of measures instituted have to be examined in the context of multitude of factors pertaining to a specific social, cultural, political, and economic settings. It is these multitude of factors that characterize the pre-pandemic international system, and it is these same factors which will greatly influence the post-pandemic international system. The fact is, COVID-19 pandemic is not simply a health crisis, but also it's a critical global crisis which have implications on all aspects of human life and the international system. COVID-19 has been equally characterized as a political, economic, social, security, and international crisis with far-reaching ramifications. It's obvious that the pre-pandemic international system was not prepared to deal with a pandemic of this magnitude. To be more precise, the coronavirus pandemic has demonstrated the vulnerability of the international system and the weaknesses embedded into it. There are the issues that need to be squarely addressed in the post-pandemic international system, which should be coupled with strong participatory leadership, strategic vision, and response directed at intended positive outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, situational analysis of the international system indicate that the current international system have gradually been overtaken by profound transformation resulting from emerging global trends. The trends are characterized by several factors which include rapid and tremendous developments in information technology, increased international travel, globalization, emergence of social media, and emerging markets. In addition, we also witness shifting population and economic growth rates with higher population and with higher economic expansion, especially in Africa, Asia, and South America. Countries need to exhibit strong leadership with planned vision to revitalize national economies and put them back on track. There is need for a common regional response and cooperation at multilateral levels to address similar threats in the future. This is already happening with several regional economic communities in Africa and Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa is part of the global community. It is currently experiencing social and economic impact of the pandemic. Africa markets and finance systems remain vulnerable. Export earnings and income from key sectors such as tourism are in decline. As a result, economic growth forecast in sub-Saharan Africa has been revised downwards from 2.2 to 1.9 in 2020. This unraveling situation needs a critical reflection in order to come up with measures and strategies which will reflect the peculiar socio-economic and political situation. In Africa, there is need for local homegrown solutions to this global crisis. We say that no one size fits all. For instance, wholesome lockdowns may not be consistent with the situation in sub-Saharan Africa, but precautionary measures such as masking, sanitizing, social distancing, hand washing, and also the use of abundant indigenous knowledge, which include traditional medical remedies, are deemed more appropriate. These measures should be complemented with experiences accumulated over time in dealing with similar crises, such as the Ebola crisis. Furthermore, we also say that local innovations such as the cheap, rapid diagnostic testing kits developed by the Pasteur Institute in Dakar, Senegal, should be encouraged and shared through regional collaboration. The formulation of code of conduct of a new normal, partnership with local partners such as the private sector and the NGOs is key to sustaining socioeconomic regimes during the pandemic. For instance, in Tanzania, we have developed a code for a new normal to revitalize the key tourism sector, which has been adversely affected by the pandemic. What we are saying is that a multi-pronged approach needs to be instituted to increase investment in scientific research, capacity building, improving medical infrastructure, and seeking partnerships and collaboration. Fair representation in international institutions that will take on board Africa, South America, and Middle East and Asia need also to be instituted. We believe that a strong national and regional leadership is needed to develop national and regional systems in Sub-Saharan Africa. This leadership will make Africa part of the global transformation trends and hence claim the rightful place in the emerging post-pandemic international system. The pandemic could also be an ignition of light that can lead to an international system which will reflect emerging political, economic, social dynamics and trends that we are witnessing currently. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you.